The European Data Protection Board, EDPB, Guidelines 05/2021 focus on clarifying the interplay between the application of Article 3 and the provisions on international transfers as per Chapter 5 of the General Data Protection Regulation, GDPR. Given the absence of a legal definition for transfer of personal data to a third country or to an international organization within the GDPR, these guidelines aim to dispel uncertainties and provide practical guidance to ensure consistent application of the GDPR's provisions across various scenarios involving data transfers. Criteria for qualifying a processing operation as a transfer. The EDPB identifies 3 cumulative criteria to determine whether a processing operation qualifies as a transfer of personal data to a third country or to an international organization. The GDPR applies to the processing operation. The controller or processor, exporter, involved in the processing operation must be subject to the GDPR. Disclosure or availability to another entity. The exporter must disclose or make the personal data available to another controller, joint controller, or processor, importer. The importer's location. The importer must be located in a third country or be an international organization, irrespective of whether the importer is subject to the GDPR for the given processing operation. Consequences of data transfers. If these criteria are met, Chapter 5 of the GDPR applies, necessitating that data transfers only occur under specific conditions, such as through an adequacy decision by the European Commission or by providing appropriate safeguards. The guidelines emphasize the goal of ensuring continuous protection of personal data once transferred outside the European Economic Area, EEA. Safeguards for non-transfer scenarios. The guidelines also address scenarios where data is processed outside the EEA but does not qualify as a transfer per the GDPR's definition. In these cases, although Chapter 5 does not apply, controllers must still comply with other GDPR provisions and remain accountable for their processing activities, ensuring lawful processing and considering risks such as conflicting national laws or disproportionate government access in the third country. Practical examples and illustrations. The EDPB provides numerous examples to illustrate these principles, covering various situations from direct data collection from data subjects in the EU by third country controllers to data disclosures between EU entities and their non-EU counterparts. These practical illustrations aim to assist controllers and processors in correctly identifying and navigating the GDPR's requirements for international data transfers and processing activities involving third countries. Conclusion. The EDPB Guidelines 05/2021 represent a critical effort to clarify and provide guidance on the complex interplay between Article 3 and Chapter 5 of the GDPR. By outlining specific criteria for identifying data transfers and addressing the implications of these transfers, the guidelines help ensure that personal data enjoys continuous protection, in line with the GDPR's objectives, even when crossing borders. This effort is paramount for maintaining individuals' rights and freedoms concerning their personal data in the global digital landscape.